So, Plato had this idea, the parable of the cave. And in the parable of the cave, there's a prisoner who's tied up, his hands are tied behind his back, his ankles are bound, his head's tied straight, so all he can see are the shadows in front of him. That's all he can see are the shadows. He can't see the figures that are casting those shadows, so that's invisible to him. So he quite naturally mistakes the shadows for the reality. The parable, of course, is that that's what we do in our everyday, normal lives. We mistake illusion for reality. And what's illusion? These things in front of us. This coat, these shoes, these boxes, this floor, that's illusion. That's not reality. So where's reality? Well, for Plato, as for Socrates, as for Diotima before him, the claim was that Diotima had taught Socrates the theory of the forms. So what's the forms?
What?
Well, the forms are those eternal things that we are born with knowledge of, ideas in our heads, innate structures, and all the things that we experience around us are just the particulars and the forms of the universals. So this, for example, is a particular. It's an image. It happens to be Giotto's image, the wedding procession with Mary, her father, the maids, the musicians. So, is this real? No. So, where's the real? Well, according to Plato, there was the idea. There was the perfect idea of the wedding procession, or the perfect idea of all of it, the woman, everything. This particular is not real, not all real. So, there's other particulars. For example, there's this particular. This is a different version. Same thing, different version. Same image, different version of it. There's that chair. That's one chair. There's other chairs. That could also be a chair. We could call them both chairs. But in our head, somewhere, there's the perfect universal of chair, the perfect form. Is that true? I don't know. This is what Plato claimed, that Socrates told him, that Socrates said, that Diotima had claimed. The truth resides only in the universals, not in the particulars. Because all of those eternal things in the world, all of those, well, forms that we never see. Now, I always thought that was rather silly, that this notion that reality was somehow an unseen world, the world of forms, the world of perfection, the world of eternal innate truths. I always thought that was just kind of silly. And I kind of went with Aristotle about it all. But if that's the case, then what do we have in the world? What are we left with? Well, just this particular thing, or that physical thing, or this physical thing. So then where are the thoughts? What happens at that moment when one bit of information jumps the synapse and goes from one neuron to the next? Is that where the thought is? And where is that thought? Is it a physical thing, or if not, what is it?
Hey there, fruitcake. Sorry to interrupt, but I really do need to clarify these issues. The notion of Platonic universals is fairly clear and easy to explain. When I emerged from the cave and was freed from the illusion of believing that the shadows were reality, I saw the bright light of true reason and perfect universal ideas. This is easy to prove. For example, as Plato wrote in the Meno, thus the soul, since it is immortal and has been born many times, and has seen all things both here and in the other world, has learned everything that is. So we need not be surprised if it can recall the knowledge of virtue or anything else, as we see it, it once possessed. All nature is akin, and the soul has loined everything, so that when a man has recalled a single piece of knowledge, loined it in ordinary language, there is no reason why he should not find out all the rest, if he keeps a stout heart and does not grow weary of the search, for seeking and loining are in fact nothing but recollection. And as Plato proved that the slave boy knew geometry, he reports Socrates saying, "So a man who does not know has in himself true opinions on a subject without having knowledge." Meno says, "It would appear so." At which Socrates says, "At present these opinions being newly aroused, having a dreamlike quality, but if the same questions are put to him on many occasions and in different ways, you can see that in the end, we'll have a knowledge on the subject as accurate as anybody's."
So, where are the thoughts? I have a thought, it's in my head, and I have synaptic transmissions from one synapse to the other, that's true, but where's the thought in that transmission? Where's the mental thing within the physical movements? I don't know. Where is this notion of the perfect wedding in that synaptic jump?
Maybe Plato's right now.